Coming to paperback and e-readers, Isis Dark Incubus. The goddess next door gets enthralled in a romantic entanglement with an evil incubus in this all-new Isis series adventure. Pre-order your copy of Isis Dark Incubus at Amazon.com and other online booksellers everywhere. Hollywood Historical Women in Crisis. One of my viewers wanted me to do another installment in the Hollywood Historical Women in Crisis series. And for this installment in the Hollywood Historical Women in Crisis series, I'm going to be talking about O.J. Simpson's late wife, Nicole Brown Simpson. Now, Nicole Brown Simpson was the ex-wife of legendary NFL superstar O.J. Simpson. And while O.J. Simpson was famous for his moves on the football field and later on famous for his work as a spokesman for Hertz Rent-A-Car and other products and his acting in movies like the Naked Gun series, Nicole Brown Simpson became infamous for her murder in 1994, where her ex-husband O.J. Simpson was the prime suspect. And Nicole Brown was a woman in crisis way before she ever got involved with O.J. Simpson. And what put Nicole Brown on the road to becoming a woman in crisis was the dysfunctional way she was raised and the dysfunctional paradigm as related to her being able to choose men. Now, Nicole Brown was a baby boomer who was born on May 19th, 1959 in Frankfurt, West Germany, to Judith and Judy Brown, a German woman, and Hezekiah Lou Brown, an American man. And she was the second of 4 daughters in that marriage, and her husband and her father had 2 children from a previous marriage. So she grew up in a traditional American home, and as she grew up in that traditional American home, she was growing up in an era of feminism, and in that era of feminism, Nicole Brown was indoctrinated into a culture of feminism where she didn't get the traditional life skills that many traditional women received, and that really messed up her perception as related to relationships and the ability to choose men. And I go in depth on what changed the way men and women related to each other in my book, The Woman Crisis. And with a lot of modern feminist indoctrinated women, they really don't have good pickers as related to picking men because the entire social marketplace had changed and the men who were considered men of character were pushed to the bottom of the social marketplace. Meanwhile, low-life men were pushed to the top of the marketplace, such as cads, whoremongers, and womanizers. And what happened with Nicole Brown as she was growing up in this whole culture was her whole perception of men was messed up, and this is how she wound up getting involved in this dysfunctional situation with Orenthal O.J. Simpson, the legendary NFL superstar. Now, Nicole Brown met legendary NFL player O.J. Simpson in 1977 when she was an 18-year-old waitress at the Daisy, a Beverly Hills nightclub, and while O.J. Simpson was still married to his wife Marguerite, who was then pregnant with their daughter Erin Simpson. And this basically showed how Nicole Brown basically, again, didn't have those female life skills to maintain a moral position in the presence of a married man. And that decision to get involved with this married man basically was triggered, one, because of the way she was raised in our feminist indoctrinated culture, and 2, it was also triggered by her natural female nature as related to hypergamy. Now, when it comes to women, they are naturally hypergamous, and whenever a man of high social status and high economic resources comes into their presence, many of these women look to go out and do anything to be involved with that man because they want to receive the benefits of that man's high social status, and they want to gain access to his resources, And Nicole Brown, seeing that O.J. Simpson was a high status man, was looking to pay her attention, not because he liked her, but basically because of her, he was spellbound by her crystal blue eyes, creamy white skin, and long blonde hair, which he believed would elevate his social status as a man, because O.J. Simpson was married to his childhood high school sweetheart, Marguerite, and they were living together for many years. He had had a family with this woman who was black, but that black woman didn't really elevate his social status as he thought he wanted. So what he wanted to do was participate in male hypergamy and looking to monkey branch to what he believed was a higher status woman, because Nicole Brown was a white blonde woman who was considered the highest level of social in white supremacist society, which O.J. Simpson had basically at this point had transcended race because he was considered a legendary football player. So he thought he would get involved with Nicole Brown, a young white woman, and be able to move himself further up the ladder as related to his social status. So the thing that both of them had in common was hypergamy. Nicole Brown wanted to participate in hypergamy and getting with the first high status man to pay attention to her, and O.J. Simpson wanted to elevate his status by getting a woman he thought would reflect his high social status as a legendary NFL football player. And this is what started the affair between O.J. Simpson and Nicole Brown. However, that foundation was not a good moral one to be on, and it wasn't a good one to be on because, again, the way you start a relationship with a woman really shows how it's going to end. And again, O.J. Simpson was starting out participating in adultery by betraying his wife. So this meant that the paradigm for Nicole's relationship wasn't going to be a positive one because, as I've stated before in many videos, if somebody cheats with you, they will eventually cheat on you. So this whole foundation put Nicole Brown further down the road to becoming a woman in crisis, and partially it was due to her looking to get the benefits of being in a relationship with a high status man. Basically, she was caught up in her greed to be with this high status man, and what's even worse is that her own family went along with this. Her own father went along with this, not looking to tell his daughter that this is the wrong man for you because he's already married, but he's had money and dollar signs in his eyes, and this is why Louis Hezekiah Lou Brown Jr. didn't go out here and vet this O.J. Simpson and say, this is the wrong man for you. No, he further exacerbated the situation by putting his daughter on the road to becoming a woman in crisis because he was caught up in getting a lot of O.J. Simpson's money and enriching himself at her expense. Now, Nicole Brown and O.J. Simpson were together for several years, from 1977 to about 1985. I mean, they were together for about 6 or 7 years, with Nicole being a side piece, eventually going from the side piece position after O.J. Simpson divorced his wife Marguerite in 1979 to having a relationship until about 1985, 5 years after his retirement from professional football. And in that time, they wound up having 2 children, Sydney and Justin. And this is where Nicole Brown and her family alleged that O.J. Simpson emotionally, verbally, and physically abused Nicole Brown in their relationship, and said that this was what was going on because O.J. Simpson really didn't love Nicole Brown, and that was basically from the start because he basically never saw Nicole Brown as a person the same way he saw Marguerite as a person. No, for O.J. Simpson, he had believed he had transcended race, O.J. Simpson thought that he had arrived, and Nicole Brown was basically an attachment to show how he had arrived as a black man because he had a blonde, blue-eyed white woman on his arm, and she wasn't a person in his world. No, she was just an object, and this was the marriage that Nicole Brown got herself into due to hypergamy, and it put her further on the road to becoming a woman in a real crisis, as she alleges that O.J. Simpson basically, as related to their relationship, what didn't really respect or regard her, and mainly he saw her as, again, an object to be an attachment. And while he was out here with Nicole Brown, it's alleged that he was out here having affairs with other women, and this was built up into an incident on New Year's Day in 1989 in a police report where they said that O.J. Simpson didn't want that Nicole Brown sleeping in his bed anymore because he got two other women and he doesn't want that woman in his bed anymore. This is what was alleged as related to the relationship between Nicole Brown and O.J. Simpson that had deteriorated. And as it deteriorated, a family friend claimed that O.J. Simpson said that if he ever caught her with anyone, he would kill her. Now, this is the kind of behavior that textbook beta males participate in that I talk about in my book, The Man Crisis. And basically, this is the kind of behavior that beta males participate in because they don't see women as people. No, when it comes to beta males, they see women as objects. And because beta males see women as objects that are supposed to be in their rose-colored reality of their smooth world, they don't see women as people that they want to be in an intimate relationship with. No, they see them as possessions, and that's what they say. That's what happens with these beta males, and that's possibly what happened here with O.J. Simpson as related to his relationship with Nicole Brown. He didn't see her as a person that he could love. No, he saw her as an object. And as he saw her as an object, he basically, when she started to act like a human being and have differences of opinion, different viewpoints, and different ideas, this is where O.J. Simpson had an issue with her. And that's when he basically, as they allege, started acting like the super brute psycho simp. And that's then the reason. And then when it comes to the psycho simp, what happens is when you start acting again in ways they don't like, this is where they become abusive. Now, on New Year's Eve, Nicole Brown said in 1989 phoned the police saying that she thought O.J. Simpson was going to kill her. She was found by the police officers in her bushes, badly beaten and half naked, according to their reports. And authorities say that O.J. Simpson had punched, slapped, and kicked her. And O.J. Simpson pleaded no contest to spousal abuse in that case. However, Nicole Brown dropped the charges after her parents allegedly encouraged her to reconcile with O.J. Simpson, showing how the hypergamy basically put Nicole Brown's life allegedly in jeopardy as related to O.J. Simpson, because the parents basically enabled the situation with this whole situation as alleged to O.J. Simpson as related to the domestic violence, because her father had a lucrative Hertz rental car facility at the Ritz-Carlton in Monarch Bay, and she didn't want that jeopardized because they wanted to continue getting resources from O.J. Simpson. However, the entire situation had deteriorated over the course of time because O.J. Simpson told Nicole Brown he was involved in an ongoing one-year extramarital affair with Tawny Katane in the 1990s. And basically, O.J. Simpson, again, as related to these reports, was again acting like a simp. Basically, the kind of simp who goes out here and he wants to have a double standard where he can have all the women that he wants, but he wants the mother of his children to basically be this moral, upstanding woman to maintain his smooth world. This is something that a lot of women get into because of hypergamy. They think, oh, I'll get with this high status man. But if this high status man is a beta male, what he's going to want to do is maintain two worlds. One world on the outside where everything appears nice and clean, and another world where he can participate in exploring the secret world where they feel safe about expressing their natural masculinity and their natural sexuality. And what O.J. Simpson was doing, allegedly as related to these reports, was he was going out and participating in making Nicole Brown be the face of his smooth world with his kids and his family to look like the good, upstanding man who was an NFL legend. But all the while, he was out here participating in affairs in the secret world with lots of other women. And as he was participating in these affairs, he was basically looking to make sure that Nicole would keep his world smooth. However, as his world became rougher because of him, again, having these affairs, Nicole Brown eventually moved into a home in Brentwood and eventually stayed there for 2 years as she filed for divorce from O.J. Simpson. And that divorce basically was the thing that disrupted O.J. Simpson's smooth world and basically had him, according to these reports, seething in anger to the point where he wanted to continue his alleged abuse of Nicole Brown by allegedly stalking her. She says allegedly that O.J. Simpson, when she went to the gas station, he's there. She goes to the Payless shoe store, he's there. She's driving behind me, and he's there. And I don't know where this is, but the whole thing is that this is the story that Nicole Brown Simpson tells. She says that in 1993 she called the police to talk about O.J. Simpson being violent again because she was involved after he found a photo of Nicole Brown dating a guy while they were broken up. And this is where they released her audio saying that O.J. Simpson had that was an incident where she called 911 crying that saying O.J. Simpson was going to beat her up. And O.J. Simpson was in a rage talking about you didn't care about the kids when you were having sex with this other man. And this basically shows the dysfunctional state of the relationship that Nicole Brown was having as related to her alleged relationship with O.J. Simpson. And this basically showed that Nicole Brown really was in this whole situation, again, not because she loved O.J. Simpson, but because of the hypergamy she had in the 70s, due to her not having that foundation to understand how to pick men, one, and two, was in this situation because her father didn't protect her by vetting her and telling her, you don't get involved with an older married man. Those decisions early on in Nicole's youth basically put her on the road to becoming a woman in crisis that became a deeper crisis when she got older. And according to Nicole Brown in 1993, she basically described O.J. Simpson in a way saying that it is quite disturbing, where she said he's got a very animalistic look in him. All his veins pop out. His eyes are black, and just black. I mean cold like an animal. I mean very weird. I see it. It just scares me. And basically saying that O.J. Simpson was like this sort of super brute black man that many white people see black people as. She basically had turned O.J. Simpson into this super brute, but she said O.J. Simpson hadn't hit her in 4 years. And after this is where she wound up moving out of the home that she had in Brentwood that she was sharing with O.J. Simpson, and then decided to move into another home where she just further got involved with more toxic men, because this is where she got met and became friends with Cato Kalin on a skiing trip to Aspen, Colorado, and eventually had him move on a property that she had with him there for a year, and he paid rent and helped her take care of Sydney and Justin. And then Nicole Brown moved to another 3-story rental townhome in Brentwood, and this was basically the last place that she moved. And at that time, she was still living the high life, driving a Ferrari, going to upscale restaurants and shops, and basically making her life around the kids, trying to make her life around the kids, and even though she was still having to have involvement with O.J. Simpson. Now, this whole situation basically with Nicole Brown came to a head in the final weeks of her life, where she basically was going to these fancy restaurants and eventually met 25-year-old restaurant waiter Ron Goldman 6 weeks to her murder, and they had a platonic relationship. But with that relationship, she still showed that she really did not know how to read men, did not know how to really read situations with men, because men don't want to be your friend. No, when it came to Ron Goldman, he basically was one of these simps who was out here looking to come in sideways as related to a relationship, and he was meeting with her for coffee and dinner in those weeks because he was looking to muster up the courage to get with her. And he borrowed her Ferrari one time when he met a friend for lunch, and they said that he said it was Nicole's car. And again, he was basically looking to try to become a side dude to this woman. And as he was looking to become a side dude to this woman, she was still getting involved with all sorts of shady men and still involved in what she called a volatile relationship with O.J. Simpson. As she was involved with this volatile relationship with O.J. Simpson, she was out here. She resided at 875 South Bundy in Brentwood, California, and it was there that she took her friends out to dinner after the children were at a recital that night. And after that night, after the recital with O.J., where she was at this recital for Sydney, this is where she wound up losing her life. And after she wound up losing her life, she wound up dying. And again, she and Ron Goldman wound up dead because Ron Goldman that same night wanted to go after work at the Mezzaluna restaurant to go over to see Nicole and drop off some sunglasses. Again, another beta male approach, because beta males come from the side and looking to do things before they finally make their advance. Unfortunately, Ron Goldman wasn't able to make a final advance because a killer wound up taking the life of Nicole Brown and Ron Goldman. And on June 12, 1994, Nicole Brown Simpson's life sadly ended. And as it ended, sadly, what happened is many people looked at O.J. Simpson as the prime suspect due to their long history and tumultuous marriage and history of what alleged domestic violence. However, when I look at Nicole Brown, she was on the road to becoming a woman in crisis due to the way she was raised in the culture of feminism that many baby boomer teenagers were indoctrinated in. And because of this, she wound up not really understanding how to choose men. Moreover, her father did not vet the man. No, instead of looking to protect his daughter from an immoral man like O.J. Simpson, who was looking to participate in adultery with his daughter. No, what Lou Brown basically did was sign off on this marriage because he wanted to economically benefit from his 18-year-old daughter being involved with a prominent older man who was an NFL superstar. And because he thought about money, he really didn't think about the quality of life that his daughter was supposed to live. Because a good father who loves his daughter, he's going to say that his 18-year-old daughter, again, a child at that age, you're not going to be involved with anybody who is an NFL superstar if he's married to another woman. And that compromise basically put Nicole Brown from being on the road to being a woman who was in America, who was on her way to being a promising woman, to winding up becoming a woman in crisis. Now, if you want to learn why so many women wind up on the road to becoming women in crisis and the dysfunctional life decisions and life paradigm that make it where they never find peace or joy in this world, you can pick up my book, The Woman Crisis, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find The Woman Crisis at other online booksellers like Draft the Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, Walmart, and Target. And if you want to learn about why beta males are really not functional men and why they wind up participating in a series of dysfunctional decisions, they wind up derailing their lives, you can pick up my book, The Man Crisis, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find The Man Crisis at other online booksellers like Draft the Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, Walmart, and Target. And if you want to learn about the paradigm that O.J. Simpson was in and why it makes these men toxic, you can find my book, Stop Simping, Why Men Don't Need Finance to Get Romance, at all the online booksellers that I mentioned. And if you want to see more videos about Hollywood historical men and women in crisis, you can send a donation for a minimum of $15 to the PayPal or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and e-readers, The Temptation of John Haynes. Give in to temptation and pick up this action-packed African-American paranormal romance. Get The Temptation of John Haynes in paperback and e-readers today. Now available in paperback and e-readers, Isis, Amari's Revenge. The goddess next door is confronted by a Nubian queen out for revenge at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in this inaugural Isis series adventure. Get your copy of Isis, Amari's Revenge in paperback and e-readers at Amazon.com and online booksellers everywhere. Coming to paperback and e-readers, Esteem Horror in the Hamptons. The aspiring angel tries to escape a house of horrors in this all-new Esteem series adventure. Pre-order your copy of Esteem Horror in the Hamptons in digital format at Amazon.com, Google Play, Draft the Digital, and other digital booksellers, or pick up your paperback copy on May 24th. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.